I babysat my nephew for free every weekend for a year. One day I asked my sister-in-law for help watching our dog while I traveled for work. She laughed and said, "I'm not your assistant." My wife said, "You can't expect people to owe you." That night I came home to find my dog missing. A note was taped to the crate that read, "I 38 male live in Salem, Oregon with my wife Jenna 36 female. We've been married for 8 years. We don't have kids, but we have a golden retriever named Sadie. She's basically our child. We rescued her when she was 2 and she's been with us ever since. My brother Travis 41 male and his wife Megan 39 female live about 15 minutes away. They have one son, Ryan. He's 7 now. For the past year, I've been babysitting him every single weekend. Not once a month. Not occasionally. Every single weekend. It started when Megan went back to work. She's a nurse who works Friday through Sunday. Travis works rotating shifts at a warehouse, so their weekends often overlapped. One day Megan called and asked if I could do them a favor and watch Ryan for a few hours. I said sure. I didn't think much of it. Family helps family, right? That favor turned into every weekend. Without asking, it just became assumed. Friday nights, they'd drop him off. Sometimes Megan wouldn't even walk him inside. She'd just send a text saying, "He's on the porch," smiley face, and drive off. I never complained. Not once. Because Ryan is a good kid. A little quiet, but sweet. He liked puzzles, cartoons, and talking about dinosaurs. I figured if they're struggling with childcare, I can help. We didn't charge. No money. No trade. Just helping out. But after a while, it started to eat at me. Not because of Ryan, but because of Megan. She never once said thank you. Never offered to return the favor. She treated me like a free daycare. There were weekends she'd call me last minute, say she needed to drop him off Thursday night instead or keep him until Monday morning. No warning. No apology. Jenna told me not to make a big deal. Just say no if it's too much. But when I did say no once, just once, because Jenna and I had plans, Megan made a scene. She told me I was inconsiderate and that I was messing with their schedule. Travis called me and asked what the big deal was. "It's just a kid." "You don't even have kids, you have time." It really pissed me off, but I let it go. Fast forward to 3 months ago. I had a major work trip coming up in Phoenix, 3 days. Jenna had her own thing going on, a nursing conference in Portland. We weren't going to be home to watch Sadie. I didn't want to leave her in a kennel. She's older now and she gets nervous around loud barking dogs. So I figured I'd ask Megan if she could stop by the house, feed Sadie, let her out in the backyard. I even offered to bring Sadie over to her house if that was easier. Just for 3 days. Her response? She laughed. A full-on smug laugh. Then said, "I'm not your assistant. Don't try to dump your dog on me. Pay someone." That hit me sideways. I reminded her that I've watched her son every weekend for over a year. She crossed her arms and said, "Nobody made you do that. You volunteered. That was your choice." I was shocked. I stood there, trying to wrap my head around how someone could be so ungrateful. Not even a polite no, just complete disrespect. Later that night, I told Jenna what happened. I expected her to be on my side. But instead, she looked at me and said, "You can't expect people to owe you. That's not how it works." That stung even more. My own wife basically told me I was in the wrong for asking for help after giving so much. I ended up calling around for dog boarding. Everything was either full or outrageously expensive. One place had room, but it was almost $100 a night. Jenna offered to check in on Sadie during her lunch breaks. I wasn't thrilled about it, but it seemed like the only option. I flew out Wednesday morning. Jenna texted me the first day saying, "Saw Sadie. She's fine." I thanked her. But then Thursday went quiet. No texts. I sent one Friday morning. No reply. Another Friday night. Nothing. By Saturday, I was worried. I called her twice. Straight to voicemail. I started feeling sick. I thought maybe something happened. Maybe she was busy. I didn't know. I landed Sunday night around 9:30 p.m. I was exhausted. I pulled into the driveway and the porch light was off. That was weird. Usually Sadie barked when she heard my car. I walked in, dropped my bags, and called out Sadie. Nothing. I checked her water bowl, bone dry. Her food bowl was empty. The crate was open. She wasn't there. Then I saw the note. A white sheet of paper, taped to the crate door. Sharpie writing in big block letters. "Next time, Pay for a sitter. My heart dropped. I tore through the house. Every room. Checked the yard. The basement. The garage. She was gone. I tried to stay calm. I called Jenna. No answer. I called Megan. No answer. Finally, I called Travis. He answered on the second ring. I asked him, straight up, "Where's Sadie?" He acted surprised. "What do you mean?" "She's gone. There's a note on her crate." He hesitated. "I don't know anything about that. Maybe she got out." "Dogs don't write notes, Travis." Silence. He said, "Look, I'll ask Megan if she knows anything." That told me everything. I hung up and sat down on the floor. I didn't cry, but I felt something worse. That kind of cold rage that settles deep in your chest. Jenna walked in an hour later. I didn't say anything. I just waited for her to talk. She looked at me, then at the crate and went pale. She sat down and said I was busy. I thought Megan was gonna help. I told her you asked. I stared at her. "You told Megan?" The same person who laughed in my face. She didn't answer. "You left Sadie alone. You forgot about her. For days. She's just a dog. That's when I lost it." I stood up and said, "You know what? If anything happens to her, you better pray she's okay. Because if she's hurt, this isn't just about a dog. This is about who you are. All of you." I stormed out, drove to Travis's house, and didn't knock. Megan opened the door like she was expecting me. "Don't even think about barging in," she started. I walked right past her. Travis stood up from the couch. "Dude, don't start something. Where is she?" I asked. They both looked at each other. Then I heard a sound from downstairs. A soft whimper. I ran to the basement and threw open the laundry room door. Sadie was there, sitting in the corner, shaking, her ribs showing. No food. No water. Just a dirty towel in the corner. She looked up at me, tail wagging weakly. I dropped to my knees and hugged her. Then I turned around and faced them. "You locked her down here?" Megan said. "Don't be dramatic. We fed her." "No, you didn't. She's dehydrated. She hasn't eaten in days. She's fine." I picked Sadie up and walked out. But I knew right then, this wasn't over. They wanted to act like I was the problem, that I was the one asking for too much. Fine. They were about to find out what it feels like to be used, to be taken advantage of, to be ignored. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to be smart, and I was going to make damn sure they remembered this. The next morning, I called the vet as soon as they opened. Took Sadie in. She was 10 pounds underweight and dehydrated. The vet said she hadn't eaten in days. Her paws were raw from pacing in a small space. She had pressure sores on her sides from laying on concrete. I asked for documentation. I wanted everything in writing. I didn't tell Jenna. I didn't tell Megan. I didn't tell Travis. Instead, I made a folder. Printed photos of Sadie from the day I found her. Vet records. The note taped to her crate. I even took a picture of the basement where I found her. Then I called an attorney. Not because I wanted money. Because I wanted accountability. But first, I stopped watching Ryan. No warning. Friday came and no one showed up at my house. Then around 7 p.m. Megan called. "Where are you?" she asked. "At home. We're waiting outside." I said, "I'm not babysitting anymore." She laughed. "What? I'm done. Don't bring him here again." She started yelling. "Are you serious right now? You're just gonna leave us hanging? We have jobs. Travis can't miss another weekend. Then figure it out." I hung up. Travis called 5 minutes later. "You're punishing our kid because of an argument?" "No. I'm setting a boundary. One I should have set a long time ago." He went quiet, then said, "You're overreacting." I said, "I have vet records that say otherwise." And I hung up again. That night Jenna came into the bedroom while I was folding laundry. She said, "You're really not going to watch Ryan anymore?" "No." "You're doing this to punish Megan." "No. I'm doing this to protect myself. And Sadie." She crossed her arms. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. Then why does it bother you so much?" She didn't answer. Just walked out. Over the next 2 weeks, Megan and Travis went full nuclear. They posted on Facebook about how some people will drop your child over petty drama and families should be about helping each other. They didn't mention the dog. But I did. I posted one photo. Sadie, lying in the crate with the note taped to it. Caption, after watching someone's child for free for over a year, I asked for a small favor. This was the response. The comments exploded. Mutual friends started messaging me asking what happened. Jenna's sister even called and said, wait, they locked Sadie in a basement? Megan tried to spin it. She posted some long rant about people exaggerating for attention and how dogs are fine for a day or two on their own. That was the final straw. I sent the folder to animal control. I reported Megan and Travis for animal neglect. I gave them every document, every photo, every receipt from the vet. I told them exactly where I found Sadie and how long she'd been there. I even sent a screenshot of Megan's Facebook comment claiming it was no big deal. An officer called me 3 days later. He said they were looking into it. Asked if I was willing to press charges. I said yes. Then I started looking through my home security camera footage. We have a doorbell cam and an indoor one pointed at the back door. I found something worse. Jenna never came to check on Sadie. Not once. The entire 4 days I was gone. She never stepped foot in the house. She lied to my face. That night I confronted her. She didn't deny it. I thought Megan would do it, she said. She said she'd swing by. You didn't even check? Not once. I was tired. I had work. You let our dog starve in an empty house. And all you can say is you were tired? I didn't think it was a big deal. That was it. Something inside me snapped clean. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood up, grabbed a pillow and blanket and said, I'm sleeping in the guest room. She followed me down the hall. You're being dramatic. I don't trust you anymore. And I meant it. Not long after, animal control called again. They'd visited Travis and Megan. They found Sadie's fur in the basement. Took photos. They were issuing a citation and a fine. Possibly more, depending on what the prosecutor decided. I didn't care if they went to jail. I just wanted them to feel it. The weight of what they did. I wanted the world to stop seeing Megan as the overworked mom and start seeing her as the selfish woman who locked up a living animal because she was mad. Then something I didn't expect happened. Ryan called me. From Travis's phone. He was crying. Why don't you want to see me anymore? My heart broke. I told him, it's not about you, buddy. I love you. I always have. But some things happened, and the grown-ups didn't do the right thing. I miss Sadie, he whispered. Me too, I said. I stayed up all night after that. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think. Because as much as I wanted revenge, I also wanted justice. For Sadie, for Ryan, for myself. And I wasn't done yet. A week after the call from Ryan, I got served. Yep, served. Megan and Travis filed a civil complaint against me. Their claim? That I intentionally caused emotional distress to their family, that I endangered their child's stability by suddenly withdrawing childcare, and that I had started a public smear campaign causing reputational damage. At first, I laughed out loud. Then I read the actual complaint. They were serious. They wanted $2,500 in damages. You can't make this stuff up. Their lawyer was some cheap local guy, the kind who advertises on the back of bus benches. I read through the nonsense and immediately handed it over to my own lawyer, the same one I talked to earlier after finding Sadie. He said, this is going nowhere. But it's not about winning, it's about scaring you. So I didn't back down. Instead, I countersued. I filed a civil complaint of my own for the cost of veterinary care, emotional distress, and animal neglect. I attached the photos, the vet bills, the animal control report, and even the doorbell footage showing Megan picking up Sadie and driving away, proof she entered my house. That detail? I hadn't noticed it before. But she didn't just ignore Sadie. She came into our home, took her without permission, and dumped her in her basement like trash. I filed a police report for unlawful entry and animal cruelty. That's when things got real. Travis called me, voice shaking. Man, please. We didn't mean for this to get so far. Megan's freaking out. Can we talk? You had your chance, I said. Now it's mine. Then Jenna got involved again. She didn't know about the lawsuit yet. I told her everything. The footage. The report. The countersuit. She lost it. You're trying to ruin my family. No, I said. Your family did that themselves. I'm just shining a light on it. You're putting Ryan in the middle of this. They did that the moment they used me like a babysitter and left my dog to starve. She left that night. Took a bag, slammed the door, and didn't text for 2 days. I didn't chase her. Instead, I made one last call to Jenna's parents. Her dad answered. What's going on? I told him everything. Calmly, clearly. The dog, the footage, the basement, the lies. There was a long silence. Then he said, we'll talk to her. Jenna's parents aren't saints, but they love Sadie. They were the ones who helped us adopt her years ago. That same night, Jenna's mom showed up at my door with Jenna. She sat down on the couch like she was about to deliver news. I think we need to separate for a while, Jenna said. This has gotten out of control. No, her mom cut in. You need to fix this. Mom, you don't understand. No, you don't understand, her mom snapped. You stood by while a living creature was mistreated. You let this happen. If that were your child, and someone locked him in a room with no food, no water, what would you call that? Jenna didn't say a word. I said, I'm not stopping this. I want the court to hear it. Her mom looked at me. And you're right to. Whatever happens with you too. I support it. Jenna left again. This time, she didn't take anything. The court date came 2 weeks later. Megan and Travis showed up with their lawyer and sour faces. They looked like they hadn't slept. My lawyer was calm. Collected. He laid out everything. The pattern of manipulation. The unpaid babysitting. The photos. The tape. The note. The dog. The judge asked them, is it true you entered the plaintiff's property and removed his dog? Megan said, we didn't steal her. We were trying to help. The judge blinked. You put her in your basement and left her for days. That does not help. They tried to backpedal, but it was too late. Their countersuit was thrown out. But the judge didn't stop there. He referred the case to the DA's office for potential charges. And that's when it all fell apart for them. Travis got suspended from his job while the investigation was open. Megan's nursing license was put under review. Everything they tried to bury finally came up to the surface. But that wasn't even the worst part. A week after court, I got a call from CPS. Apparently, someone had filed a concern about Ryan's home environment. They asked me questions. About the house. About Megan's behavior. About Travis yelling. About whether I ever saw anything unusual. And I answered honestly. I didn't lie. I didn't exaggerate. But I didn't hold back either. I told them about Ryan crying on the phone, asking why I didn't love him anymore. I told them how his parents used him like leverage, and how quick they were to turn on anyone who set boundaries. And then the caseworker said something that chilled me. You're not the only person who's come forward. Apparently, other people had noticed things too. A neighbor had seen Megan yelling at Ryan in the driveway. Another friend of the family told CPS that Travis drinks more than he lets on. The cracks were there. They just needed one spark to blow open. And I guess that was me. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Because I had one more piece to play. One final truth bomb that nobody saw coming. And I was going to drop it where it hurt most. That final piece I mentioned? It was something I kept in my back pocket for over a year. You see, when I first started babysitting Ryan every weekend, I set up a small camera in my living room. Not hidden, just a normal nanny cam pointed at the couch and play area. It was for safety. He was a quiet kid, but accidents happen. I wanted to be sure if he ever fell or something weird happened, I'd have footage to explain it. I'd forgotten all about it. But after everything with Sadie, after the lawsuit, the lies, the CPS investigation, I remembered. I went back through the old footage. Not looking for anything specific. Just watching. And that's when I saw something. A Saturday night, maybe 6 months ago. Megan had dropped Ryan off around 8 p.m. She stayed for a bit. Told me she needed to use the bathroom. She was in there 10 minutes. When she came out, she looked off. Eyes red. Slurred speech. Clumsy. I remembered it clearly now that I saw it again. That night, she kept texting me asking when she could come back early to get him. Said she didn't feel well. Said she was sick. But the camera footage told a different story. When she thought I wasn't looking, she took something out of her purse. A pill bottle. Dumped 2 pills into her hand. Swallowed them dry. She was high as a kite. Around Ryan. In my home. I clipped the footage and gave it to CPS. That was the nail in the coffin. 2 weeks later, CPS made a temporary removal. Ryan was placed with Megan's sister in Albany, pending the results of the investigation. Megan lost it. She blew up my phone. Sent voicemail after voicemail crying, screaming, begging. Said I ruined her family. Said I twisted everything. Travis called once. All he said was, "You win." But it wasn't about winning. It was about finally being seen. About all those quiet weekends I gave, all the favors, all the help. All taken for granted. And how they acted like I was the problem when I asked for one thing in return. Sadie made a full recovery. She's back to a healthy weight. Still flinches sometimes when the door slams. Still follows me from room to room, just to be sure I'm there. Jenna moved out 3 weeks after the trial. We filed for divorce. She tried to fight for half the house, but I had records showing I paid for almost everything. My lawyer was ruthless. She walked away with less than she expected. I haven't spoken to her since, and I don't miss it. People always say revenge is loud, angry, explosive, but the most powerful revenge I've ever felt was quiet, peaceful. It was walking Sadie through the park on a Saturday morning instead of watching someone else's kid for free. It was opening my own fridge without wondering if I had enough food for a picky child who didn't even know why I was always there. It was sleeping in. It was silence. Ryan's still with Megan's sister. She sends me updates. He's doing better. Enrolled in a new school. He still asks about me. One day I might visit. But not yet. This chapter's closed. And when people ask what finally made me cut ties with my own family, I tell them the truth. I say, they laughed when I asked for help. Then they took my dog, starved her, and called me selfish. That's all it takes. They understand. And I finally do too. Helping people doesn't mean you owe them forever. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. And trust? Once it's broken, sometimes it never comes back. And that's okay. Because now, it's just me and Sadie. And for the first time in years, that's more than enough.